So you've got this headache.
I have this headache.
And whereabouts is it?
It's right in the centre of my forehead, right here.
Okay. And out of 10, what's it feel like?
What, the headache?
Yes.
I would say it was about a 7.
About a 7. And how do you feel it? Is it a pressure? Is it a stabbing? Is it...
I suppose it's an intense pressure.
An intense pressure? Okay, so let's just start with that. Even though I've got this 7 out of 10 intense pressure.
Even though I've got this 7 out of 10 intense pressure.
In the front of the centre of my forebrain.
In the centre of my forebrain.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though I've got this headache.
Even though I've got this headache.
And it's an intense 7 out of 10.
And it's an intense 7 out of 10.
Right in the centre of my forehead.
Right in the centre of my forehead.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And my body.
And my body.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though I've got this headache.
Even though I've got this headache.
This 7 out of 10.
This 7 out of 10.
Right in the middle of my head.
Right in the middle of my head.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And my body.
And my body.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
This 7 out of 10 pain.
This 7 out of 10 pain.
This 7 out of 10 pressure.
Oh, sorry. This 7 out of 10 pressure.
I feel it right in the middle of my head.
I feel it right in the middle of my head.
This 7 out of 10 intense pain.
This 7 out of 10 intense pain.
This 7 out of 10 pain that's been triggered.
This 7 out of 10 pain that's been triggered.
It wasn't there before.
It wasn't there before.
We started working on something.
We started working on something.
And now I have this intense headache.
And now I have this intense headache.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And let my body know.
And let my body know.
I'm willing to get to the bottom of it now.
I'm willing to get to the bottom of it now.
I'm ready to process it.
I'm ready to process it.
This headache.
This headache.
I'm ready to process it.
I'm ready to process it.
So take a deep breath. Now when you say this headache came on and you feel worse from what you started with before, was that was talking about claustrophobia, was it?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a specific memory that you were talking about that brought up this headache?
I'm not sure, because there were 2 specific memories. One was Wednesday when I actually landed at Melbourne and I really did have a real panic attack. But then we actually started talking about 35 years ago when I had my very first, with an incident I think actually triggered it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you think of both of them, which one holds the most energy for you now?
I think Wednesday, because it was such a shock. It was such a shock, and I was at the point of becoming hysterical.
Okay, so let's go to that. Even though I have this memory on Wednesday.
Even though I have this memory on Wednesday.
And I was at the point of becoming hysterical.
And I was at the point of becoming hysterical.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Even though it was such a surprise.
Even though it was such a surprise.
To have this hysterical feeling.
To have this hysterical feeling.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
When I landed in Melbourne.
When I landed in Melbourne.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And thank my body.
And thank my body.
For bringing this up.
For bringing this up.
So I can work on it.
So that I can work on it.
Even though I've got this severe panic attack.
Even though I had this severe panic attack.
That I had on Wednesday.
That I had on Wednesday.
I thank my body for bringing it up.
I thank my body for bringing it up.
Just in time for us to work on it this weekend.
Just in time for us to work on it this weekend.
And I accept myself.
And I accept myself.
I have an inkling of where it came from.
I have an inkling of where it came from.
But it surprised me.
But it surprised me.
I've got this surprise memory on Wednesday.
I've got this surprise memory on Wednesday.
This intense panic attack.
This intense panic attack.
It was intense.
It was intense.
It surprised me.
It surprised me.
I hadn't had one for a while.
I haven't had one for a long while.
I was taken by surprise.
I was taken by surprise.
This intense
panic attack.
Where did you feel it in your body when you had that panic attack?
Oh, it's in my throat. I can't breathe. I hyperventilate, and it was real panic.
Okay, all right. I had this real panic attack.
I had this real panic attack.
I couldn't breathe.
I couldn't breathe.
I had this real panic attack.
I had this real panic attack.
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
It took me by surprise.
It took me by surprise.
I'm ready to release it.
I'm ready to release it.
And find out where it came from.
And find out where it came from.
And release it from there too.
And release it from there too.
And I accept myself.
And I accept myself.
I accept this panic attack.
I accept this panic attack.
For coming just at the right time.
For coming just at the right time.
So I can release it.
So that I can release it.
Even though it was intense.
Even though it was intense.
And it surprised me.
And it surprised me.
I am willing to process it now.
I am willing to process it now.
I felt it all in my throat.
I felt it all in my throat.
And in my chest.
And in my chest.
It was hard to breathe.
It was hard to breathe.
This panic attack.
This panic attack.
In my chest.
In my chest.
And in my throat.
And in my throat.
It was hard to breathe.
It was hard to breathe.
I felt it in my chest.
I felt it in my chest.
It was hard to breathe.
It was hard to breathe.
I'm processing it now.
I'm processing it now.
All the way back to its beginning.
All the way back to its beginning.
It surprised me.
It surprised me.
It was hard to breathe.
It was hard to breathe.
Deep breath. All right, so when you remember the moment that this panic attack happened, what do you think was triggering it? Was it something you saw or heard?
Well, because I'm claustrophobic, I have to have an escape route.
Mm-hmm.
And we landed, and although there wasn't much leg room, so it was fairly claustrophobic for normal people.
Mm-hmm.
But once we landed, everybody gets up, and unfortunately, we were quite a long way back in the plane.
Okay, so tough.
So I had all these people between me and the door, and I couldn't even see the door, yet alone get out.
Okay. I can't see the door.
I can't see the door.
As soon as everyone stands up.
As soon as everyone stands up.
There's so many people.
There's so many people.
I can't see the door.
I can't see the door.
How am I going to get out?
How am I going to get out?
I've got all this fear and panic in my body.
I've got all this fear and panic in my body.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Even though I can't see a way out.
Even though I can't see a way out.
I'm so far back.
I'm so far back.
There's so many people.
There's so many people.
I can't see a way out.
I can't see a way out.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Even though I can't see a way out.
Even though I can't see a way out.
There's all these people.
There's all these people.
We're so far back.
We're so far back.
And I have panic and terror in my body.
I have panic and terror in my body.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Releasing this panic and terror out of my eyes.
Releasing this panic and terror out of my eyes.
I can't see a way out.
I can't see a way out.
There's so many people.
There's so many people.
We're so far back.
We're so far back.
How am I going to get out?
How am I going to get out?
I've got all this panic.
I've got all this panic.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
It's taken me by surprise.
It's taken me by surprise.
I can't get out.
I can't get out.
I feel it in my chest.
I feel it in my chest.
I feel it in my throat.
I feel it in my throat.
I'm releasing it now.
I'm releasing it now.
It doesn't belong trapped there.
It doesn't belong trapped there.
Releasing this surprise, shocked feeling.
Releasing this surprise, shocked feeling.
I can't see my way out.
I can't see my way out.
Take a deep breath. So when you remember everybody standing up and you can't see the door, do you still feel that in your chest and your throat, or has it come down a bit?
No, I can just still feel it here.
In here? Yep.
Yes, I can still feel it here. It's
so how big is it? Tennis ball size, smaller?
In between a golf ball and a tennis ball. If you understand what I mean, it's a fair size.
What colour is that ball?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Even though I've got this ball of terror in my forehead, I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And I allow my brain.
And I will allow my brain
to release this.
To release this.
In whatever way it needs to.
In whatever way it needs to.
Even though I've still got this terror in my brain. This ball of fright. I'm willing to release it.
I'm willing to release it.
And process it. I accept myself.
I accept myself.
I've still got this ball.
Of
terror trapped in my head. And I'm willing to accept it and process it. I have this ball of terror. And I remember seeing everyone stand up. I couldn't see the exit. It felt hard to breathe. But I still have some terror in my forehead. I'm releasing that terror. I did get out. I am safe. We were all safe. I can release that feeling. I want to release that feeling. Releasing that feeling of terror out of my forehead. Okay, how does that feel now when you imagine everyone standing up and you can't see the exit?
Well, at the moment I'm much calmer.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
it's an imaginary situation. So
okay, even though it's an imaginary situation,
even though it's an imaginary situation,
and it might come back if it's real,
and it might come back if it's real.
In a real situation,
in a real situation,
I accept myself and this fear.
I accept myself and this fear
Deeply and completely.
deeply and completely.
Even though this is just my imagination.
Even though this is just my imagination.
But when I imagined it before,
I
brought up all those feelings.
I brought up all those feelings.
And I'm not feeling them now.
And I'm not feeling them now.
I accept myself anyhow.
I accept myself anyhow.
Even though it may come back in the real situation.
Even though it may come back in the real situation.
Maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't.
Maybe it will.
Maybe it will.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
What if it comes back?
What if it comes back?
I'm not feeling it now.
I'm not feeling it now.
It might come back.
It might come back.
It might not.
It might not.
What if it does?
What if it does?
This feeling of terror.
This feeling of terror.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
I remember when it happened when I was little.
I remember when it happened when I was little.
Maybe I can reduce that as well.
Maybe I can reduce that as well.
Maybe even dissolve it.
Maybe even dissolve it.
Then there'll be nothing to be triggered.
Then there will be nothing to be triggered.
Maybe I'll work on that one.
Maybe I'll work on that one.
Okay, so when you think about in the plane,
yes,
everyone's standing up, you can't see a way out. Are you feeling anything in your body?
No, I'm feeling much calmer.
Okay. And going to the original time, when you said it happened many, many, many years ago, how old were you?
I would have been in my early 30s.
Right. And what was that, a plane situation again? Or
no, that was a tube train.
A tube train, okay. So even though I've got this tube train memory,
even though I've got this tube train memories,
when I was 30,
when I was 30,
in my 30s,
when my early 30s,
and I remember this panic attack,
I
accept myself.
I accept myself
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
Where did you feel that in your body? That tube train?
Again, I think it's in the throat. It always seems to trigger not being able to breathe. I have a weakness in my throat.
Mm-hmm. Even though I've got this weakness in my throat?
Even though I've got this weakness in my throat.
And I had it triggered?
And I had it triggered.
When I couldn't breathe properly?
When I couldn't breathe properly.
In the tube train?
In the tube train.
It was so crowded?
It was so crowded.
I accept myself?
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely?
Deeply and completely.
Could you see an exit then?
Yes, but the doors were jammed.
The doors were jammed. Even though I've got this memory.
Even though I've got this memory.
The doors were jammed.
And the doors were jammed.
And panic attack filled my body.
And a panic attack filled my body.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Deeply and completely.
Deeply and completely.
The tube train.
The tube train.
The doors were jammed.
The doors were jammed.
This panic.
This panic.
I can't get out.
I can't get out.
The doors are jammed.
The doors were jammed.
This panic.
This panic.
I feel it in my throat.
I feel it in my throat.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
This panic in my throat.
This panic in my throat.
The doors were jammed.
The doors were jammed.
No wonder I've got this panic attack.
No wonder I had this panic attack.
And I feel it in my throat.
And I feel it in my throat.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
Processing and releasing it.
Processing and releasing it.
Letting my body know I'm safe.
Letting my body know I'm safe.
I did get out.
I did get out.
I did survive.
I did survive.
Releasing this I can't breathe feeling in my throat.
Releasing this I can't breathe feeling in my throat.
Even when I remember seeing the doors jammed.
Even when I remember seeing the doors jammed.
I did get out.
I did get out.
I am safe.
I am safe.
Okay, so take a deep breath. So when you remember being on that tube train, were there noises that you heard with the doors being jammed, or just was it what you saw?
It was the fact of knowing that the doors were jammed and I couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
And we were quite deep underground. So
okay, all right, new aspect. We were quite deep underground.
We were quite deep underground.
The doors are jammed and I can't get out.
The doors are jammed and I can't get out.
What if we can't get out?
What if we can't get out?
We're stuck deep underground.
We're stuck deep underground.
That feeling that I can't breathe.
That feeling that I can't breathe.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And let my body know.
I let my body know.
We're safe.
We're safe.
This feeling of being trapped underneath the earth.
This feeling of being trapped underneath the earth.
The doors are jammed.
The doors are jammed.
This panic.
This panic.
This feeling I can't breathe.
This feeling I can't breathe.
This feeling in my throat.
This feeling in my throat.
I am safe.
I am safe.
I can let my throat know.
I can let my throat know.
Thank you for trying to protect me.
Thank you for trying to protect me.
But I'm safe now.
But I'm safe now.
Releasing this panic out of my throat.
Releasing this panic out of my throat.
Releasing this feeling out of my throat.
Releasing this feeling out of my throat.
And all this panic.
And all this panic.
We're safe.
We're safe.
Okay. So when you think of being on that tube train, it's crowded, the doors are jammed. How did you know they were jammed? Did they make a noise or did you just see them?
No, it was crazy because the doors were actually jammed and they were working on the doors before I got on. I thought the problem had resolved and that they were then working. So I then got on and they closed the doors and then they realised that they hadn't resolved the problem, so the doors were jammed. So I wouldn't have got on if I'd have realised that the problem hadn't been resolved.
I got onto that train.
I got onto that train.
I thought the problem was fixed.
I thought the problem was fixed.
If I had have known it wasn't fixed,
if I had known it wasn't fixed,
I wouldn't have got on.
I wouldn't have got on.
I was angry at them.
I was angry at them.
I have all this anger trapped in my body.
I have all this anger trapped in my body.
Along with this panic.
Along with this panic.
And I accept myself.
And I accept myself.
Even though I did get on.
Even though I did get on.
And I accept them.
And I accept them.
They were trying to fix it.
They were trying to fix it.
This problem with... I choose to release that remaining fear.
I choose to release that remaining fear.
In my forehead and in my throat.
In my forehead and in my throat.
I can breathe easily.
I can breathe easily.
I choose to breathe easily.
I choose to breathe easily.
I was okay.
I was okay.
I was just a bit angry though.
I was just a bit angry though.
No wonder I had a panic attack.
No wonder I had a panic attack.
Deep breath. Okay. So when you imagine that now, and you know they were fixing the doors, you thought they were fixed but they weren't. You get under there, the doors are jammed.
Yes.
You're way underground.
Yes.
What if you can't get out? But you did get out, didn't you?
Yes, we got out eventually. They did manage to fix the doors and the trains. The train actually got home. But this was at Oxford Circus, which is probably the deepest underground station in London.
And you got out.
And I was tired at the end of a working day. So but that was what triggered it. But I've spent years and years and years suffering from claustrophobia since that particular incident. And normally, although it's there, it's not normally as bad as it was on Wednesday. And Wednesday was really, really bad, and it took
deepest underground you could be.
Well, that doesn't bother me now, but it's many years since I've been on a tube train.
Yeah.
Because when you have something like claustrophobia, you use avoidance therapy. So you avoid putting yourself...
But you used to have claustrophobia.
Yes. Well, I sincerely hope it's gone because I've got to fly again next Wednesday. So.
All right. So there might be some more.
Can I ask you why you scared? Why you were scared? Because you knew that people would come and fix the door.
Sorry?
You knew that the people would come and fix the door, that the doors will open eventually. Why were you scared? What were you scared of?
Well, with claustrophobia, whether it's not logical for a start, you're always terrified of running out of oxygen.
So did you have claustrophobia before then?
No.
So you're just scared of like running out of oxygen and dying?
Yes. You can't breathe.
Yeah, and particularly
which is why I'm terrified of lifts. I rarely use a lift.
So there's probably more work to do and more aspects to look at. But
do you know since when? Since your back memory, as far as you can remember, since you got scared or something, or something happened to you that I don't know, someone throw you in a cupboard and.
I have no idea. I had 5 brothers. Anything could have happened.
Yeah. So there might be more subconscious stuff.
But I can't remember.
You can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But
so your first memories like that.
That was what actually triggered it. But obviously, that was a trigger. There must have been something prior to that that would have caused it. But I cannot remember. And I have actually tried.
But at the moment you can't get in a lift.
I don't use lifts. No.
But before the tube accident, would you use lift?
I would use lifts, yes.
So you got.
So the tube probably is the trigger, but there may be some underlying something similar to it. But your headache's gone, and we've cleared a huge part of it.
Yes, yes. I was just surprised that just from talking about it, it triggered this quite intense headache, because I very, very rarely get headaches. It isn't something I'm.
So you see how you can trigger physical things from emotions,
yes,
from your own thoughts and being taken into that.
Yes.
So awesome.
Okay.
So that showed a lot of different aspects of where to go with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.